Dr. Anthony Raj. He has pursued his bachelor's, master's, and MPhil in physics. He then went on to pursue his PhD in physics at the University of Madras as well. He then went on to work as a lecturer at Tiruvalluvar Arts and Science College and Idya Engineering College for Women. Since the year 2006, he works as the lecturer and assistant professor at Loyola College, Chennai. With regard to research, he has published several papers in international journals, namely Radio Wave Propagation over Salem, Linear and Non-Linear Optical Properties of Pure and Doped Selenium Malate Single Crystals, and many more. He has also attended several conferences and seminars, namely International Conference on Materials Science and Technology, National Conference on Higher Education at Crossroads held at Loyola College, National Seminar on Crystal Growth 12 held at VIT University, and many more.
Welcome to UGC lecture series, BSc Physics Honors, Mathematical Physics 2, Semester 2, Lecture 17. In this lecture, we are going to see canonical momenta, canonical pair of variables, definition of generalized force, summary. Canonical momenta. We know the Lagrange's equation of motion as d by dt of dou L by dou q dot j minus dou L by dou q j is equal to 0. This is the Lagrangian equation. If the Lagrangian contains q dot j but not q j, we can easily see from the Euler Lagrangian equation that the behavioral of that coordinate will become d by dt of dou L by dou q dot j is equal to 0. Here that dou L by dou q dot j is equal to pi. This implies that pi is equal to dou L by dou q dot j is constant or conserved and is termed the canonical momentum conjugate to qj or the canonically conjugate momentum. We know this qj is the generalized coordinate and pi is the generalized momentum. In Lagrange's equation, if this d by dt of dou L by dou q dot j is equal to 0, this dou L by dou q dot j is a constant quantity or a conserved quantity. That is a basic thing in mathematics. Any quantity is differentiated. If that differentiated gives or is equal to 0, then that quantity is constant or conserved. Same thing happens here in Lagrange's equation, so that this d by dt of dou L by dou q dot j is equal to 0. In this equation, that dou L by dou q dot j is equal to a momentum. This momentum is a constant quantity or the momentum is conserved, and this conserved momentum is termed as a canonical momentum. Then this canonical momentum is conjugate to qj, or this momentum is called as a canonically conjugate momentum. This is the thing we learned from the Lagrange's equation to understand the canonical momentum. Now, the coordinate qj is termed ignorable or cyclic coordinate. Once that pj is specified by initial conditions, it does not change. That is, if pi is equal to dou L by dou q dot j is specified by some initial conditions, then the value of this pj will not change. This is another concept we learn from the Lagrange's equation. We are going to all these concepts to understand the cyclic coordinate or canonically conjugate momentum or canonical momentum. So, in some simple cases, the canonical momentum is simply a constant times the corresponding generalized velocity, indicating that velocity in that coordinate evolves linearly in time. So, canonical momentum is nothing but the constant times the corresponding generalized velocity, indicating that velocity in that coordinate evolves linearly in time. That is the case for some simple problems. In some complicated cases, the dynamics are not so trivial, but one does still obtain very useful relation between coordinates and velocities that are not generally true. For example, for a particle moving in 2 dimension under the influence of a central force, here the central force is a gravitational force. We know that gravitational force will attract any object towards the center of the earth. That is why it is called as a central force. So, here for example, a particle moving in 2 dimension under the influence of gravitational force is considered. Here there is no dependent of the Lagrangian on the azimuthal angle phi. So, that the angular momentum p suffix phi is equal to ml square phi dot. So, here this phi dot says or signifies this rate of variation of phi with respect to time. So, the angular momentum in polar coordinate p phi is equal to ml square phi is constant. So, in this case also that p phi is constant. So, canonical momentum is a constant quantity. That is what we learn from this concept. This tells the fact that this phi dot is directly proportional to rho dot square as a particle moves inwards towards the origin. So, if a particle moves inwards towards the origin, its angular velocity must increase in a specific way. In general, then a cyclic coordinate results in a conserved momentum that simplifies the dynamics in the cyclic coordinate. So, cyclic coordinate means in a coordinate that qj is invariable. So, that qj is called as a cyclic coordinate. So, here a cyclic coordinate results in a conserved momentum. So, that simplifies the dynamics in the cyclic coordinate. So, let us understand this canonical momentum by an example. Let us imagine the Atwood's machine. For the Atwood's machine, the canonical momentum is given by p suffix z is equal to dou L by dou z dot, which is equal to m1 plus m2 into z dot. This is the canonical momentum in Atwood's machine. Here in this case, if u is equal to 0 and L is constant, Z does indeed become cyclic and Pz is conserved. So, this Pz is a canonical momentum in the case of Atwood's machine. In the Atwood's machine, if the blocks are initially at rest, they stay at rest, and if they are initially moving with some speed Z dot, that speed is preserved. That is the another point we learn from the Atwood's machine about the canonical momentum. So, in Atwood's machine, if the blocks are initially at rest, they stay at rest, and if they are initially moving with some speed z dot, that speed is preserved throughout the motion of the Atwood's machine. So, this is the thing about canonical momentum. Now, let us come to another important concept in Hamiltonian mechanics, that is canonical pair of variables. In classical mechanics, the position coordinate q and the momentum coordinate p are the canonical pair of variables. So, in earlier discussion we learned the definition of canonical momenta. Now, this canonical momenta can be one of a pair in the pair of variables, canonical pair of variables. So, in classical mechanics, the canonical pair of variables are nothing but the position coordinates and momentum coordinates. Both can be assumed as a generalized coordinate. So, q and p are the canonical pair of variables. Canonical transformation. We know the transformation is a concept which transforms one set of coordinates to another set of coordinates. This transformation is very useful to get the solution of some difficult problem like Lagrangian transformation, then Laplace transformation, then Fourier transform, like that. Many concepts, many transforms are there in mathematics. In the calculus of variation, this canonical transformation is an important concept. The main idea of this canonical transformation is to find all those coordinate system in the phase space for which the form of the Hamiltonian equation is invariant. That is the main aim or idea of canonical transformation. Here you came across the concept phase space. The space is a coordinate generalized to coordinates in which the position and momenta are entities. So, that is the definition of this space. For all those coordinates in the space, the form of Hamiltonian equation is invariant under the canonical transformation. This is the definition of canonical transformation. Now, equation of canonical transformation. We can get a straightforward solution to Hamilton's equation, provided Hamiltonian is a constant of the motion and where all coordinate qj are cyclic. So, this is how the equation of canonical transformation can be defined. Under these conditions, the conjugate momenta Pj are all constant. Under these conditions, the conjugate momenta Pj are all constant. Here that Pi is equal to alpha I, and since the Hamiltonian cannot be the explicit function of either the time or the cyclic coordinate, it may be written as h is equal to h of alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, etc. till alpha I. We know the Hamiltonian equation for q dot j are simply given by q dot j is equal to dou h by dou pi, which is equal to dou h by dou qi, which is equal to omega I. This is the Hamiltonian equation for q dot j, where that omega I is the function of alpha i's only when this q dot j is equal to omega I. Now, this dqi by dt is equal to omega I, then dqj is equal to omega I dt. So, this is the equation we get about that dqj by dt. Then on integrating this equation, we get q dot j is equal to omega it plus beta I. So, on integrating this equation, we get an expression like this. Here this beta I is a constant of integration or this beta I are constant of integrating. Thus, if all the coordinates are cyclic, then we may get the solution immediately. So, may get the solution cyclic coordinate depends on the choice of generalized coordinate. So, solution for the canonical transformation equation are all cyclic. Then if that solution are all cyclic, we get the solution immediately. This is the case about the cyclic coordinate and canonical transformation equation. The next concept which we are going to see in this lecture is generalized force. We know force is an important quantity in mechanics. Force is a push or pull acting on a body. That force will make the body to move from one place to other place. So, this is how a force is learnt. Here in calculus of variation, generalized force is taken into account. Generalized forces are defined by combining the relationship between virtual displacements of position coordinates and generalized coordinates with the relationship between virtual work and non-constrained forces. This is the definition of generalized force. We know in simple mechanics, force can be calculated by multiplying the mass with the acceleration. That is, mass times of acceleration gives the force in general mechanics. In terms of work and displacement, Work in general mechanics, so work is defined by force into displacement. Work is defined by force into displacement. That displacement and work can be used to define generalized force also in calculus of variation like this. Generalized forces are defined by combining the relation between virtual displacements of position coordinates and generalized coordinates with the relation between virtual work and non-constrained forces. This is how that generalized force are defined. Generalized work is defined by del W is equal to summation of I comma j f vector of I comma j, which is a non-constrained force, into delta r I. So, this is how the virtual work can be defined, which is equal to summation over I comma j into f vector I comma j, which is a non-constrained one. Then this delta r I can be expanded as summation over k into dou r I vector by dou q k vector into del q k. So, this is how that virtual work can be expanded. Now, which can be simplified as summation over k into summation over I comma j of f I j, a non-constrained force, into dou r I vector by dou q k vector into del q k, which gives summation over k into f k into del q k, where that f suffix k, a force, k coordinate of the force, summation over I comma j f I j, which is a non-constrained force, into dou r I by dou q k is equal to del w by del q k. Here this q is a generalized coordinate, this r is a position vector, this w is work done. In terms of this w, position vector and generalized coordinate, that generalized force is defined. F suffix k is equal to summation over I j, f I j, which is a non-constrained force, into dou r I vector by dou q k, or this can also be said as del r I vector over del q k. This is the generalized force along the kth generalized coordinate. So, this is how equationally this generalized force can be defined, k coordinate. So, the last form of this generalized force of k coordinate is equal to del w by del q k. This says that force is simply the ratio of work done over the displacement. This is the basic thing in general mechanics. In classical mechanics, the small change in work done and small change in displacement is taken into account. So, the generalized force is defined as f k is equal to del w by del q k. This is how the generalized force is learnt. Now, let us apply this generalized force to an example, that is Atwood's machine. Atwood's machine. The generalized force of the z coordinate of this Atwood's machine is f z z component of the generalized force is F suffix z is equal to F vector 1 1 dou r1 vector by dou z plus F 2 1 vector into dou r2 vector by dou z. So, here this is the generalized z component of generalized force in Atwood's machine. Here you can see that r1 vector, variation of r1 vector along the z coordinate plus the variation of r2 vector along the z coordinate. So, this variation of r2 is f21 times f21 times, then the variation of r1 is f11 times. So, sum of these two things gives the generalized force in Atwood's machine. So, which can be further simplified as minus m1g into dou z1 by dou z minus m2g into dou z2 by dou z. So, here m1 is the mass of one block in Atwood's machine, g is acceleration due to gravity, then this r1 is z1 here, that is z component, then r2 is z2. So, f21 mass into acceleration. So, this is how the generalized force in Atwood's machine can become. Now, let us do a simple example about this canonical momenta generalized force. So, here obtain the Hamiltonian equation of motion for a simple pendulum, and the simple pendulum Lagrangian, first we need to take the Lagrangian for that Hamiltonian. So, L is equal to 1 by 2 m L square theta dot square minus mgl into 1 minus cos theta. This is the Lagrangian of a simple pendulum. Here that polar coordinates are used. Theta is the azimuthal angle, then L is the length of the pendulum. So, polar coordinate is used. Now, generalized momentum for this one is P suffix theta is equal to dou L by dou theta dot. This is what we learnt as definition in the starting of this lecture, that is canonical momenta. To understand that canonical momenta, this dou L by dou q dot j is equal to 0. That means d by dt of dou L by dou q dot j is equal to 0. That means that dou L by dou q dot j is conserved or a constant. That conserved or constant quantity is called as generalized momenta. That generalized momenta is taken here in simple pendulum case. So, P suffix theta is equal to dou L by dou theta dot, which is equal to m L square theta dot, which from this expression we got we get the value of theta dot as P suffix theta by m L square. So, this is the variation of theta dot is the variation of azimuthal angle with respect to time, that is obtained in terms of the generalized momenta, canonical momentum over m L square. So, the Hamiltonian of the system is given by H is equal to P suffix theta, that is the canonical momentum theta dot minus L. Here H is the Hamiltonian, L is the Lagrangian. These two are connected by the term P theta theta dot. So, Hamiltonian is obtained. Now, substitute the value of L in this equation. So, if you substitute the value of L, that Hamiltonian will become H is equal to P suffix theta theta dot minus half m L square theta dot square plus mgl into 1 minus cos theta. This is how the Hamiltonian will become after substituting the Lagrangian of the simple pendulum. Now, you can eliminate this. Total energy of the system will be the kinetic energy and the potential energy, sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy. So, we got T plus V is equal to P theta square over 2 m L square plus m g L into 1 minus cos theta. So, Hamiltonian of the simple pendulum is this one, then total energy of the simple pendulum is this one. Here you can find that this mgl 1 minus cos theta exists in both the expressions. So, Hamiltonian gives the energy also. So, that is the thing. This is the same as Hamiltonian. That means this T plus V is same as the Hamiltonian. So, the Hamiltonian represents the total energy of the system. That is the learning from this problem. In this problem, we learned how to get the canonical momentum for a simple pendulum. Then that canonical momentum is used to obtain the Hamiltonian. Then in that Hamiltonian, Lagrangian expression is substituted. So, we get the complete Hamiltonian of the simple pendulum in the polar coordinates. Next, we got the total energy of the simple pendulum, and we learnt that total energy is equal to the Hamiltonian. So, Hamiltonian gives the total energy. That is the thing we learnt from this problem. So, in this lecture we learnt the canonical momenta. Canonical momenta is a coordinate in a phase space system. Phase space system is a coordinate system which have both the position coordinate and momentum coordinate. So, canonical momenta is a coordinate in phase space system. Then it is defined as P I is equal to dou L by dou Q dot J. Then the generalized coordinate Q dot J and generalized momenta P J are called canonical pair of variables. This concept also we learnt from this lecture. Then the generalized forces are defined by virtual displacement and work done. Then we applied this canonical momenta concept, generalized force concept and generalized pair of canonical variable concept to a simple pendulum problem, and we found that a Hamiltonian of a simple pendulum is equal to total energy of the simple pendulum. So, these are all the concepts we learnt from this lecture. So, after listening to this lecture, we can answer the following questions. Define canonical momenta. What is known as canonical transformation? Define generalized force. So, these questions can be answered after listening to this lecture. Thank you.